From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening and welcome to our broadcast. I'm Daryl Clark. Leading our news this evening, the Fairbanks North Star Borough School Board has placed Superintendent Pete Lewis on administrative leave. Assistant Superintendent Karen Goberick has been named acting superintendent. Now, the district announced the move last night in a brief press release. No reason was given for the action, but the board did say it was not disciplinary. The announcement was made after the board came out of closed executive session. School district spokesman Scott McCrae says the reason for the meeting was to discuss a personal investigation and potential claims against the district.
With personnel matters like this, it's it's a highly confidential matter. There's issues of disclosure that could lead to liability against the district, which no one wants to go down that road. That's not good for anyone involved. But what I can tell you is this: this morning, school buses went out on snowy roads and picked up students and took them to school, and teachers taught and students learned, and we went about the day-to-day business of the school district and providing an excellent education for our students.
The Northern Door Clubhouse received much-needed support from the Fairbanks City Council last night. The council voted to contribute $58,000 to the clubhouse, which is enough to keep the drop-in center operating for 1 year and to hire one staff member. Until last night, the long-term future of the clubhouse was uncertain because their current grant expires in May. The volunteer coordinator for Northern Door says he expected the council to fund half that amount.
I'll tell you what it said about the council last night and the mayor is that they're committed to helping the community that can't help themselves. They recognize that there are segments of any community that need support and need help, and they wanted to be a part of that. They also encouraged us to say, look, there's others out there, even private donors and state funds, and hopefully the borough that would also step up to the plate and see programs like this continue.
In many Yukon River villages, king salmon runs are lower than ever before, according to state fisheries managers. Today, the Yukon River Drainage Fisheries Association hosted a gathering of tribal councils and state agencies to figure out new management strategies for 2014. The status of king salmon runs are forecasted to be low, which will impact subsistence fishers in Canada as well as Alaska. Starting tomorrow, a salmon summit begins, which includes tribal councils from Canada. They hope to establish understanding with Alaskan tribes about fishing challenges in both countries.
Well, tomorrow we will be starting the International Summit, and so the Alaskans will be staying for the next 2 days to meet with Canadian First Nations, and that meeting is really to build the relationship between the Alaskans and the Canadians, to get them to know each other, to learn about each other, so that they can work across the border cooperatively to ensure that the salmon stocks return.
Last-minute preparations were underway today at the Carlson Center as Fairbanks gets ready to play host to the largest mining convention ever for the interior. Close to 150 vendors will be working to impress the representatives as they meet for the Alaska Miners Association's 75th anniversary. The convention will continue through the 13th, featuring the latest state-of-the-art technology, tools, equipment, and materials. The Alaska Miners Association is made up of more than 1,500 prospectors, geologists, engineers, vendors, and a combination of mining companies, big and small.
The trade show here is just going to be outstanding this year. It's the biggest one we've ever had at any of our conventions to date. And it's, as you can see, there's some of everything for everybody here. Well, we're basically advocating for the Alaska miners. Not only with the legislature, but with other venues and issues that arise, and we're just making sure that the Alaska miners' voice gets heard.
All right, when we come back, state lawmakers continue to battle over funding for education. Also, the Alaska Dispatch is buying the Anchorage Daily News. That story and more next. And welcome back to our broadcast. The Alaska House has voted to remove a plan to address the teachers' retirement system for a broad-ranging education bill. Governor Sean Parnell had urged lawmakers to do so, arguing the issue should be looked at separately. Parnell had proposed moving $3 billion from the constitutional budget reserve toward addressing Alaska's nearly $12 billion unfunded pension obligation, with $1.1 billion going toward the teachers' retirement system.
I respectfully ask you to support the removal of the TERS provisions and to continue our work with the governor on a solution that includes both the teacher retirement system and the public employee system as one package.
And the question I kept asking the administration is, how are you going to make these payments? You're not even making the annual payment this year.
Online news outlet Alaska Dispatch announced today a deal to buy the Anchorage Daily News newspaper. The sale, set to close in May, is for $34 million. The sale covers the Anchorage Daily News, the ADN.com website, and the paper's property and operations in Anchorage. After the purchase is completed, the paper's assets are scheduled to be sold by Alaska Dispatch to a private local buyer. The Dispatch has operated as an online-only news outlet since its founding in 2008. The publisher of the Alaska Dispatch said she doesn't think there's any less demand for news, just getting new ways of getting it.
I think that technology is just causing us all to digest news differently than we did, and the technology, you know, don't we all find it frustrating, but it keeps on changing, and that means the delivery of the news keeps on changing with it. But what's behind it all that matters is good journalism, and that hasn't changed, and I don't think that ever will change, and I think we need to do more of it.
The Habitat for Humanity wants to help veterans, active duty soldiers, and their families get into houses of their own. But Habitat in Fairbanks is also starting a new program to help military and veterans with some home repairs or upgrades. They would focus on projects like cleaning up and painting. A veteran at North Pole built his own house, and members of Habitat will help him tape and mud the seams on the drywall.
That other affiliates have incorporated home repair into what they offer to the community. And I thought, what a neat fit for our community, because we have lots of turnout from the military folks. And if we could just do some small projects that focused on disabled vets and those that need just a little help on the small projects, what a great way to give back to the community.
Well, it is spring, and that has allergy sufferers getting ready. Experts say weather conditions may make this year one of the worst yet for allergies. Monty Bowen has more in this week's health report.
The birds are back, a hopeful sign that spring is coming. But with spring comes allergy season.
My hope is that I won't have to carry Kleenex with me everywhere in my pockets, and it will help me with my allergies, so it keeps my asthma better under control as well.
During the spring and summer, we receive pollen count reports.
It's nice and warm, and it's good, you know, for the pollen and good for the mold, and a reason for the people who have more trouble than anything else.
An extremely snowy winter also can bring a waterlogged spring. That means great growing conditions for everything, including mold.
If we keep on getting warmer, the mold spores will come up, you know, to be a big problem too.
If you're suffering from allergies and over-the-counter treatment doesn't seem to be working, talk to your doctor. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
Okay, Joe Cook has sports news out of the WCHA today. A new commissioner will be taking over. That's big news. He was introduced today. Plus, he'll have that. Some Nanook shooters are some of the best in the world. More on those stories next with Joe.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the Sports Seat for you this Tuesday evening with some sports. We start with WCHA hockey news today in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Robertson was officially named the new commissioner. Robertson is from St. Paul and brings with him major league experience. He was the vice president of communications and broadcasting for over a decade for the NHL's Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Sports Entertainment. Before that, he was director of communications for the Anaheim Angels, Mighty Ducks, and the Minnesota Timberwolves NBA franchise. Robertson was also the media relations liaison for both Team USA Olympic women's and men's hockey teams in 2002 and 2006. His father, Norm Robertson, played for the University of Minnesota as well. Robertson is 53 years old and he will begin mid-May as he takes over for longtime Commissioner Bruce McLeod, who's retiring after 20 years as commissioner in June.
television, the digital content that goes on, and all the new revenue streams that are possibilities for the future. I will do my best as commissioner of the WCHA to stay on top of these trends in college hockey and use my vast relationships to help continue to build this conference over the years.
But I can tell you what I've learned, a great institution, some great caring people about those hockey programs, and there's tons of potential here. And Bill, you're the perfect guy to kind of mine that potential. Real good vision for the league, and you're the right person to carry that vision to fruition.
4 Alaska shooters on the rifle team for UAF have now reached world-renowned status, you could say. Earlier this month, Tim Cherry, Mike Layuza, Ryan Anderson, and Mats Eriksson competed in the International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup at Fort Benning for their countries. By the end, all 4 would have been ranked top 50 in the world in their disciplines. Cherry, coming off his national championship in small bore, shot well enough in the 50-meter three position for 12th in the 120-shot event. Anderson was 35th overall in that event as well, but Anderson placed 30th in a 10-meter air rifle, which was a 60-shot event. Layuza was 36th in the prone discipline as well. Eriksson shot for his home country of Sweden and was good for 46th in three position, 48th in 10-meter air. Now, Cherry, Layuza met the minimum qualifying scores after a match earlier in the season, but those scores weren't high enough for the actual qualifying rounds. But if they did count, they'd be officially in the top 50. But Anderson and Eriksson were able to qualify and place in that top 50. Also over the weekend in high school sports, local track and field athletes got their first taste of track season at the Big C Relays in the Dome in Anchorage. Lathrop started the preseason strong with 4 top 3 finishes in 4 individual events and 2 top 3s in relays. Jaquise Cannon, Tyreek Jennis, Travis Phillips, and Chris Seminario won the 4x100 meter relay by 0.4 seconds over a team from California. Damian Cogger won the boys shot put with a 48 meter throw. Jarrett Welsh's 6-foot 4-inch high jump was enough to win that event. Lathrop teammate Cameron Bryant was second in that event. Bryant was third in the 300 hurdles in 43.58 seconds as well. Alice's Tony Griffith, he just outran Dylan Pratt of Chugiak for the 100-meter dash title gold by fractions of a second, 11.36 seconds to 11.48. The next meet is a mini meet at North Pole this Saturday. After Sunday's first ever Denali Dog 140-mile race, a musher from Two Rivers, she comes in first. Jessica Hendricks won the inaugural Denali Dog 140 in 21 hours and 5 minutes. John Schaldemeyer is the founder and race director of this race. Mushers had a 9-dog limit and went 70 miles from the Water's Edge Bed and Breakfast to the Alpine Lodge and back. There was a 6-hour mandatory rest at the lodge. After Hendricks was Terrell Jadron, Karen Hendrickson, Ray Schroyer, and Tim Muto for the top 5. Last night in men's college basketball, the final, that game, the championship game. Hey, Alaskans, we may have something to say about UConn winning and all. There are a lot of Huskies in the interior, you know. See what I did there? Alaska Huskies, UConn Huskies, whatever. Anyway, UConn Huskies, they won their 4th national title, 60-54 over the Kentucky Wildcats, as the fans in Storrs, Connecticut, of course, going crazy. UConn led wire to wire, led by as much as 15 in the first half. Senior guard Shabazz Napier, the MVP of the tournament, scored a game-high 22 points on 8 of 16 shooting with 4 threes. The Wildcats were the first team since the Fat Five to have 5 freshmen starting the title game. Kentucky was just 13 of 24 from the free throw line, however. Napier ends his college career how he started. He was on the 2011 championship team led by another stellar guard, Kemba Walker. UConn's the first number 7 seed to win a national title. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. For more KTVS Sports, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, our app, and of course, webcenter11.com. Your full weather forecast is next, and we'll catch you next time.
And welcome back to the weather block. Mike is still out for the evening, so we'll give him one more day of rest. Let's get right to the weather. It is getting better out there, slowly but surely, getting back to our normal routine. Checking out our almanac for the day. As you can see, our normal high is 39 degrees. We didn't quite make it there, but we did see temperatures in the 20s. Not bad. Our overnight low, 14 above, so that was pretty good. And a record high set in 1990, 55 degrees. Record low of 19 below set in 1949. Daylight sunrise was at 6:38 a.m., sunset 9:11 p.m., giving us a total daylight hours of 14 hours, 32 minutes. That is another gain of 7 minutes over yesterday. Taking a look around the state, as you can see, Barrow's still in the minus category. However, for Yukon, 18, Fairbanks 15, and when I said 20, I did see that on a sign on a coffee hut, so don't take that for for the official weather. Right there was 15. In the Anchorage Bowl, 32 degrees, pretty nice for them, and 43, Juneau, Ketchikan, 44. Things drying out over there after they've had some precipitation over the past couple of days. On the west coast, looking nice to the north, 18, 19 Bethel, but Cold Bay still seeing some snowy conditions mixed with rain as well. So all in all, not a bad look for the state as a whole. Taking a look at the lower 48, there we go, sliding on down, and as you can see, things are also drying up down the lower 48, as you can see in the Pacific Northwest, just overcast and no more rain and slush for them. On the west coast, temperature is actually perking back up. San Francisco, 78 degrees in spring, are you kidding? That's perfect, we'll take it. Vegas, 88, 94 in Phoenix, and as you look toward the Midwest, Minneapolis 54 and Chicago, nice and toasty at 60. Dallas looking good. Hopefully they can get some moisture down there as well, because getting into the spring season, farmers got to get their crops in, and of course rain is appreciated there. Dried out in the Gulf states as well. And then on the East Coast, well, not looking too bad. There is a slight storm system moving up the coastline, but it shouldn't be affecting them too much longer, maybe another 12 to 15 hours. Miami, nice at 90 degrees. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the satellite. And as you can see, there's that storm system I said that is moving out of the Gulf states right there, and it will affect the northern Florida a little bit. And then that big, long pressure system right up there affecting the East Coast and blowing out toward the waters. So things looking up for the East Coast. Okay, warmest air mass of the year going to the West Coast here. You can see 10 to 20 degrees above normal. That's what's given those temperatures to Vegas and Los Angeles and Sacramento. And like I said, San Francisco, almost 80 degrees. That's pretty high for this time of year. Going to go ahead and take a look back at Alaska for tomorrow. Our forecast for the northern part of the state. Sunny skies for Barrow and Nome. Mostly cloudy at Fort Yukon. Temperatures ranging from 7 below in Barrow to Nome at a nice 18. Taking a look in the interior, this is what you're most concerned about. Slow warming trend, but another day like today, Fairbanks 19 degrees, Healy 20, and Delta 17. Could be some overcast and maybe a few spits of rain here and there. Taking a look down at Juneau, Ketchikan. Rain and snow showers move back into the picture. Ketchikan a little warmer, 44, so they'll get the rain, and that's going to continue throughout the next 2 days. Taking a look over southwest, mostly cloudy at Cold Bay, but warm temps, 40 above. Bethel 24, and Kodiak looking nice and overcast with partly sunny skies at 40 degrees. All right, now taking a look at, if I can get that clicker going, oh, we're going to go through this whole thing again. Really nice, but we're going to do it fast forward style because we have the time. And this is what happens when Mike is not here. All right, very good. Now we'll get back into the Anchorage Bowl area and show you that snow showers in Valdez, otherwise sunny for Anchorage and Homer, so pretty good temperatures for them. For us tonight, let's take a look at the forecast. Clouds clearing by morning, a little cooler in the overnight, 1 above for the expected low. Now taking a look at tomorrow, 19 above, getting warmer, partly cloudy by afternoon, but it's going to feel cool because of those winds. And taking a look at the 5-day forecast, there we go. Now we're starting to get back into temperatures that are usual for this time of year. Thursday looks to be the last of our cold days of the work week, but that's still a 32-degree temperature for a high. Then into the weekend, in the 40s, lows, overnight lows, going pretty nice, all the way from 0, rebounding to 20 degrees by the beginning of next work week.
Wow.
See, Joe, I told you it was only going to be a day or two.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the weather up here is just so unpredictable.
Well, sure, absolutely. It's you know, the state's 1/3 the size of the lower 48, so of course we're going to have wide-ranging temperatures. But the real problem is how to control this thing. I don't know how Mike does it every night.
He's got to leave like a manual.
Yeah,
like a
it's
cheat
just one
sheet.
button,
Say, hey,
forward. I don't know. I'm all thumbs with this thing. But anyway, hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure because I'm sure people would like to get a more precise, accurate forecast going into the work week, toward the end of the work week.
Most definitely. I think you did a good job, though.
Well, thanks. I try.
better than I would have done. I would have tried to throw stats in there and all that
stats, that would have been nice. Very good. All right, well, that will wrap up this edition of our broadcast. We are glad you could join us.
And tonight on NBC Nightly News, the latest on the heightened tensions in Ukraine. That's next with Brian Williams.
Of course, you can join us us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com. See, I can read a teleprompter. I just can't use that thing.
Yeah, and that's what I usually say, but since Mike's not here,
yeah,
I'm going
so
to close
now
it
you get
out.
to close it out.
So from all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.